I'm Britta, and today we'll be talking to Ellie about MNL48, how you can follow them, and why you should support them. Hey Ellie.
Hey, what's up?
So, could you start by introducing yourself?
Yes, of course. My name is Ellie, and I host a podcast for MNL48, and right, that's pretty much it. That's all I've been doing actually. I don't have much of an online presence, but that's what I've been doing recently.
So you live in the Philippines, right?
Yes,
And
of
you
course.
would consider yourself a big fan of MNL48?
Yeah, totally. Because I mean, it's really exciting for us here actually because the concept of an idol group here is very niche, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of fresh actually. So me being an idol fan, now that they're gonna bring a new group, what I'm saying is it it's making me excited because I don't have to go to Japan anymore to see an idol group.
Yeah, so they haven't done anything like official like this before, have they? There haven't been any, um, I guess like professional groups in the Philippines before? Idol groups?
Well, there's one I remember actually. It They were called Kawaii Five.
Huh.
The most common name you could think of for an idol group.
Uh-huh.
And actually, one of the members of that group is actually auditioning for MNL48 right now.
Huh, really?
Yeah.
So, about MNL48, can you just, like, quickly introduce the group and anything we know about them so far, like how many members they'll have, when they'll debut?
Yeah, of course. So right now, actually, they're still on the audition process. I mean, they already have like the girls they they can put on the final lineup because they're like set on having actual 48 girls in the group for first gen.
Which is a lot.
And yeah, actually, that's a lot. And right now, since it's almost done, like from the beginning of the auditions that started like 2016, and it ran through the whole year of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
The auditions ended on December 2017, and the official competition started January. And from there, it's been 13 weeks. So, no, I mean, the whole process was going to take 13 weeks. So, right now, we are on week 11 or something. I don't know.
Okay. And, so when, do we know when the group will officially debut yet?
Yeah, they said something about the general election on April 28th, but about an actual debut, there's not much news yet. The general election thing they're mentioning is like the selection for the final lineup, I guess.
So the general election is actually to, like, choose the members, kind of? Not like the general elections we usually
Yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah. It's actually very confusing for like an AKB fan.
Uh-huh.
Like a friend of mine actually asked me about this. Like, so how actually are they gonna do the general election? Is it gonna be for the Senbatsu or something? So I was like, actually no, I'm not sure if that's what they're gonna do. So It's all very confusing because there's not much. The management's not talking about it much. They're still focusing on picking the first gen.
So do they have a theater yet? Are they building it? Do we know where it is?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think they started building it like around December, I think, last year,
Okay.
and it's gonna be, of course, in Manila.
So about the audition process, did you say it
Mhm.
started in 2016?
Yeah, yeah. Um, the way they did it was through an app. So the girls, they're called aspirants, and you could like if you wanted to audition, you can send a clip of yourself dancing, singing, or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like Facebook actually. And
Huh.
around around 2017, they did like an nationwide tour, and they had this weird truck that 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 doubles as like um a studio or something. So the girls danced there inside that truck, and it had like glass walls so people could see what they were doing inside.
Huh.
That was that happened for like a whole year because they traveled all throughout the Philippines. So that's why it took so long.
So it took so long because they were basically trying to get more people to audition and get more people interested in the group.
Yeah, yeah. That's basically it because idols are pretty unknown here.
Is it really rare to encounter another idol fan, like, except on the internet?
Yeah, totally. I started as an idol fan around like 2006, I think, and not once have I ever encountered another idol fan in my town.
So, you said that, like, the beginning of this year, 2018, they started doing, the, like, final auditions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, can you explain a little bit about that?
All right, so they closed the auditions December, and they announced they're gonna be picking like 200 girls from like 4,000 applicants from the app and on-site auditions. And then, of course, since they were like partnered with this media giant here in the Philippines, so they're gonna be doing some twists on and all that drama stuff. So they picked 200 girls, and then they screened those 200 girls, and then said they're gonna pick 100, and then another twist. They pick 75, and then from there, the 75 girls were like expected to reach up until the general elections, but of course, they thought up of another twist. They started eliminating.
Hooray!
They started eliminating girls, 5 girls every week. And how many weeks was that? I'm sorry, I'm not good at math, but they stopped around 48. So that's what we have right now, 48 girls. Yeah, there's just really crazy stuff happening. It's like it's pretty new. I'm not sure if any auditions really done this before, like elimination style.
And you said they just added some new girls too, right?
Yeah, yeah, actually they did, which was really surprising because it's almost ending, and people really found that disrespectful for the girls that were waiting for almost a year. If they really wanted to a twist that would make more sense, why not just bring back the 27 girls they eliminated from the top 75 they had previously?
Yeah.
So like right now, these girls that were added, people are really mad at them because they're like they're seen as like they were riding the coattails of the final lineup. So they basically just had a free pass to the final to the general elections, pretty much.
So right now we have 48 girls plus these new girls, and then, like,
Yeah.
in the general election, they're gonna pick 48.
Yeah.
So how many new girls are there?
So there's 27. So they brought it back to 75.
Oh, okay.
So,
What's the weekly process like? So do they perform and you can vote for the girls, right?
yeah. So basically, the whole thing runs like a survival show.
Mhm.
So from the app, from which you can vote on, that's like 50% of whatever they're measuring or something, and then the other 50 are from coaches, and then the studio audience where they're performing on TV. So they get evaluated for whatever it is they're doing. Mostly it's singing and dancing.
Mhm.
And every Saturday they do some kind of weird stuff like doing some surprise announcements. Like the most recent one, the the addition of the new girls.
Are you able to vote if you're not in the Philippines?
No, they actually just they made the app lock the app, so it's mostly just for us here in the Philippines.
So about the performances, do they perform AKB songs or other songs?
No, they don't. I'm not sure why they don't. The Like a lot of fans are wondering why they don't use AKB songs,
Uh-huh.
and they're mostly just using from music from local artists and like American pop music, which is
Huh.
really weird actually.
Like what kind of American pop music?
Like Kesha or Justin Bieber.
Yeah, that's
Like,
that's
my
that's
God.
funny because it's so different from AKB.
Yeah. Like, I'm not sure how other people are looking at it. It's like, my God.
So, would you say the average person in the Philippines, like, is aware of MNL48 or maybe is watching this, or is it, like, really niche?
I'm not sure if I even want to share this, but most people's reactions to them are really really bad. Because since here in the Philippines, it's more of a like a K-pop country, so
Yeah.
people expect them to be really good every time they perform.
Mm-hmm.
And since like the the auditions, uh, they actually pick some ordinary girls, and it's not like they're gonna be really good right away. And since the Philippines really focusing on pure talent,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of hate comments can be seen online about them. It's
And
kind of sad actually.
a lot of the girls are pretty young too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
like
it's 15
mm,
to 20, right?
yeah,
The age range?
yes, yeah. I think there's like only 5 20-year-olds
Mm-hmm.
in the competition right now.
So, the MNL audition process is really different than any other 48G group has done their auditions. Like recently STU48, they kind of auditioned through Showroom, but
Oh,
there's never been a group auditioning like this that has done, like daily shows and things like that. So, do you think it's a good way to do an idol audition?
yeah. It's like I was actually surprised how transparent the whole thing was, and it's like a double-sided blade because you can actually get to know more of these girls as the audition progresses, but at the same time, the management is giving us this level of interaction with them.
Hmm.
During the daily shows, they actually read out some comments from the people.
Oh, cool.
Sometimes the management would suddenly put in some random hater comment. So it's like, yeah, why are you making the girls know about this? So it's like, I can only imagine what the girls' reactions are. like when they read these comments, they kind of cut out from them to the host first. So
Hmm.
like to avoid most of them are probably gonna cry, but somehow that hasn't happened yet. So, but yeah, it's just crazy how like you can actually you actually have a power to influence the show in some way.
So, how did you get into MNL48? Was it just because you were into idols before and you were excited that a 48 group was coming to the Philippines?
Yeah, I actually just heard about it on Twitter, so that's mostly where I just lurk around. And when they announced that, so I was like, oh my god, it's actually happening. And since I know beforehand that people in the Philippines are gonna be looking for pure talent like K-pop idols, I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm not sure if this is gonna work. So I kind of just tried to ignore this until I actually saw some of the applicants themselves.
You did some campaigning for one of the girls, right?
Yeah, I did. I did.
So tell us about that.
So of course, one of the applicants, she's from from my hometown,
Oh,
and
cool.
of course, I'm gonna rep her. So
Uh,
so when they informed me that she was coming home, so I was like, so of course I just had to see her. And when I went to the place she was campaigning, I was actually surprised that she recognized me because we actually talked before, even before she got picked on the final 48 final lineup they had. So that was kind of cool, I guess.
yeah, that is
And
cool.
then and then I proceeded to campaign for her there.
Anyway, so you've met a few of the other girls too and talked with them on your MNL48
Mm,
podcast, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was before they picked the top 200 girls. So everyone was pretty much still unknown to people. So
Hmm.
that was my goal for that podcast to get people to know them, and somehow it worked. And most of the girls I talked to in that podcast are still in the competition right now.
Oh, that's cool. So which ones are still in the competition that you talked to?
So there's Faith, of course. She's my Oshi.
Hmm.
And then there's Ashley. Who else? The twins. There's twins in ML48. And then one half Japanese, Kaide.
And you've met a few of them in person too, right?
Yeah, I met them all. That four of them I met them. So that was really exciting for me.
Because they were doing an event somewhere, right?
Yeah, they attended this anime convention, and they there's a bunch of other applicants with them, so they campaigned in that place.
Oh, that's cool. So which girls do you think we should particularly be paying attention to? Probably some of the ones you just mentioned?
Well, there's Faith, of course. So it's like, so how would I describe her actually? She just have this really natural idol aura around her, and if you see her perform, you can see that she really enjoys what she's doing. And even though she's not really that good with dance, she's really trying hard to do her. She's really doing her best to
Hmm.
improve. And seeing her from the start up until now, it's just it's just really great, you know. And then of course another one would be Sayaka, the one from my hometown. She's half Japanese. I'm not sure if that's an advantage for idol fans. But yeah, she's really great. When I saw her for the first time, I actually thought I was meeting an idol. I get I guess being half Japanese helped with that.
Her ears are really cute, also. Important
Yeah,
information.
yeah. She has like the cutest ears.
So, and you said they were twins?
Yeah, there's twins, Shaira and Shaina, and they're like, I can't describe how crazy these two are. So I was there at the camp when I met them for the first time. They were just all over the place. They're kids.
And they're pretty popular, right?
Yeah, actually, they're pretty popular. It's crazy, and even even though they're really popular right now, they're still the same kids I talked to before people even actually got to know them. Uh, the podcast I did with them was the longest one. So one episode I do for each applicant is an hour long at least. But when I did an episode with the twins, it took at least 3.5 hours
Oh my
because
gosh.
how crazy they are actually. They're just full of really full energy.
So what kind of things did you talk about in your podcasts with these idols?
So basically, we just talked about their history and liking idols, what they
Mm-hmm.
do in their free time, how did they start to get to know MNL48, why did they audition, no, that basic stuff.
Yeah, and so back to the members, who are some of the other most popular members?
Right now, well, one of them is actually a vlogger on YouTube. So with the voting thing, she's really winning by a landslide.
Because people already knew
So
her.
yeah, and she has like celebrity friends. So when they campaigned for her, no one's actually catching up to her votes.
And
So
what's her name?
everyone's just it's Eunice.
So who are some of the other popular members?
Who else? Of course, there's Ashley. I've talked to her in one of the podcasts before. She's also a YouTuber actually. She mostly did dance covers,
Mm-hmm.
and she's pretty popular within the local wodas and all that. And who else? Well, of course, Sayaka, since since she's just really good looking.
So okay, so I looked at all the applicants and like picked out which ones I thought were the cutest.
Mm.
And I thought Sayaka was really cute. And the other ones I thought were really cute are Trixie and Thea. So tell us about them.
Oh, of course. Trixie, she's she's insanely beautiful. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy how pretty she is, and I think she's popular. She's actually pretty active in Twitter and talks to most of the people, and she's also really active on Instagram too, which is crazy because I don't think I've ever actually seen this level of interaction with an idol aspirant before. It's crazy how management really allows them to talk to people this much. And Thea, well, she's a cosplayer and she's mostly really popular among anime fans. But right now, she's not really doing well in the rankings. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, she's really pretty too.
Yeah, totally. Real cute.
But I can't vote for her.
That's really like I have some friends that really want to vote for Fate because I never stopped talking about her and they kind of just got hooked.
So why do you think other people should support MNL48? So obviously a lot of idol fans in the Philippines are interested, but why do you think people who live in other countries should be interested?
Well, I guess one obvious reason is pretty much everyone here in the Philippines can speak English. So since everyone is really crazy about this one idol, Japanese idol who can speak English, it's like
Yeah, Amaki Sally.
yeah. I mean, I like her too actually, and
Mhm.
I just want I also want people to check out ML48 if they actually want an idol experience just as much they have with Sally.
And you said that the members are like really active responding to fans and things like that.
Mm.
So do pretty much all of the members have like Twitter and Instagram?
Yeah, most of them are really most of them have. So it's like part of their campaign to gather more votes from people. So I guess that's why management just lets them do whatever they want on
Mhm.
SNS.
And some of them are doing showroom too, right?
Yeah, they that that's one of the things that got me into them even more because I wasn't really an AKB fan before. I'm more of a Hello Project fan. So
Mhm.
when when I knew MNL48 was going to be a thing, I didn't really pay attention to it much. And since Showroom is like that one of those platforms you can watch idols. So the girls, one of the applicants was doing Showroom for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I think since they know that idol fans would be watching there, I think it's one of their strategies to get people to know them, and it worked. It worked on me. So like I didn't expect to be hooked on them, and then suddenly I was doing my own showroom, talking to them and all that. It's great. But yeah, I think that was Ashley doing the showroom. I walked into her live. She was singing in Japanese, talking in Japanese, and also Filipino, all sorts of crazy stuff. It was great.
So you said Sayaka's half Japanese, so she speaks Japanese, right?
Yeah, she does. When the auditions was started, she was actually in Japan. So I think they already moved to Japan before she knew she got into ML48.
Mhm.
So they had to go back to the Philippines and then make her just follow her dreams. She mentioned when we talked before, she mentioned that she actually likes it more here. So going back to the Philippines wasn't a problem for her.
You said that she was actually thinking about auditioning for STU48, right?
Yeah, that's one of the when we were talking, that was one of the things we talked about. I was like really surprised that she was actually auditioning for another 48 group. But I guess it makes sense to come back here because I think she has more of an advantage being here, half Japanese, than being in Japan. I mean, we all know how like some people in Japan treat half Japanese or something.
Do any of the other applicants speak Japanese that we know of?
Yeah, well, there's Ashley, and
Mhm.
then there's another applicant that's actually half Japanese also. That's Kay. Uh, I'm not sure why they changed her name to Kay, but I think it's more like people can pronounce her name properly.
Okay.
Her actual name is Kaide, and they made her. I guess her screen name is just Kay now. But yeah, she's also half Japanese, which is okay. So here's another fact about her. Actually, when we were, she's also one of the girls that was doing showroom, and uh, she was making people ask her questions, and I think one thing just led to another. She said, I think her mom was also there, and her mom mentioned that she actually auditioned for Morning Musume's ninth gen auditions.
Oh wow.
I think she was 10 at the time, and she didn't go through with it because I think they live very far away from Tokyo,
Mhm.
and I think the cost of traveling back and forth was too much for them. I think.
So about some of the other members, who are there any other members that you would say are like really talented, like really good at singing or dancing?
Oh yeah, of course. Who's the first one that comes to my mind? There's Eka. She her voice is just really good. I think she did performances before she joined. Then there's also Alice. She she was the one I mentioned that was already in an idol group before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Kawaii 5. And who else? Dancing. Well, for dancing, there's Ashley. And who else there? Was there? I think the problem with this is, and I don't mean to flex, but Filipinos are generally really, really good at dancing, or it's just really hard for me to like pinpoint a name. All these girls really know how to sing. It's crazy.
So in general, you would say like the talent level is actually pretty high. It's just that like people are used to K-pop, so their standards were like through the roof.
I mean, of course, they still need polishing, but let's just say us idol fans has really, really low standard since
Yeah.
we expect these girls to like mess up sometimes. Everyone's not perfect, but yeah, since the male for girls are being conditioned to be perfect because of the audience they're being presented to, which is the Filipino, was really high standards.
So how do you think they could appeal more to potential fans in the Philippines?
Okay, so I think the problem here is since the Philippines has really high standards, I think it's more like having the people know more about idol culture. I don't think people will accept them right away as they are. They're branded as like Filipino J-pop idols, and unless they actually make the girls train really hard, they're not gonna satisfy people at all. It's like having the public know how a Japanese idol works.
Yeah, so tell us more about your MNL Oshimen.
Alright, so okay. Well, Faith, she's how do I say this without being really creepy? I, it's just really strange for me because um right now they're still pretty much regular girls.
Hmm.
So it's like strange just thinking about them, great they are, how cute they are. When I know they can see my tweets, they can know they know my face, they know my Facebook. So like how do I show how do I say how much I love them without being really creepy? When I talk to her on my podcast, she the way she speaks, I don't know if people will get this, but in Filipino there's like this respectful words and all that. So I she sounds like she was brought up in like a really proper family. She speaks really respectfully, even though we're like close in age or something. And it's like strange for me because I'm not really used to talking to younger people like that.
Hmm.
But okay, basically what we talked about when I had her on my show, she's just she's just really just a regular girl who likes idols. I mean, her dad is what made her be an idol fan. Like I think her dad worked in Japan before, and he just showed her a bunch of stuff like variety shows, AK Bingo, and that's what made her get into idols.
So her favorite idol groups? Does she like? I'm assuming she likes 48G then.
Yeah, it's mostly just 48G.
So earlier you said that people from other countries should be interested in MNL48 because the girls will interact with you and the girls speak English. So what do you think are some of the other strengths or charms about MNL48?
All right, so aside from actually they can actually talk to you, I guess.
Hmm.
That right now I'm not sure how the management will actually make their social media work, but right now, if you actually want a genuine idol experience, since they haven't actually debuted yet, you can still talk to them right now and get to know more about them before they debut. And I think it's really interesting that you can have this level of interaction with them before they get famous. But right now, there's not much I can uh I guess say about them since they haven't really started yet. Basically, I just want people to look out for them. I think they have a lot of potential to be really great. I mean, other sister groups by AKB48 are doing pretty well by themselves in their own countries, like BNK, and I'm not sure how their system works there, but I think MNL48 just really have an advantage of talking to international fans because they can speak English.
Would you say the girls are pretty excited about international fans?
Yeah, and most of them are really surprised that people are getting to know of them. I mean, right now they're still regular girls,
Hmm.
and getting support from international fans really really makes them excited. And I think just getting support from people who know how idols work means they're probably doing something right.
So how would you say that you can follow MNL48? So you've mentioned that they have an audition show, and you've mentioned about their social media. So if someone wants to learn more or become a fan of MNL48, and maybe they just speak English, they don't speak any Filipino, how would you say they can follow them?
Well, every day they have this online show on Facebook, and Filipinos really easy actually. You can just guess what they're talking about because with Filipino, it's a mix of um it it has random English words in there, and so you can just make out what they're talking about.
So you think it's
And
easier to follow than like Japanese?
yeah, it's much easier in Japanese actually. I have a friend watching one of their specials, Saturday specials, and he mentioned how it's like how it's weird that he can understand what's going on at that extent,
Uh-huh.
unlike Japanese shows where you kind of just guess from what they're doing.
Yeah. So they have a show every day.
Yeah, they have an online show every day.
How long is it?
It's an hour long, depends on what they're doing.
Oh wow.
Like like every week they have one challenge or whatever. So during the AKB48 center exams at Japan,
Hmm.
uh, they did one of their own here. So they tested the applicants about their knowledge about ML48. I mean by about AKB48,
Okay.
and it was hilarious actually because uh, most of the girls aren't really familiar with AKB48, so there's just really crazy answers like getting getting the names wrong. I think there was one that said Minigeshi Takahashi or something. You kind of just mix everything up. It was crazy. It's hilarious.
Who did the
And
best?
of course, Fate did. I think Fate topped the exam, and most there's also other AKB fans in the group
Hmm.
as well in ML48. It's just really a matter of who who understood the question better or remembered the right thing. But if but I think everyone did well in that exam. But of course, Fate came out on top.
So what are some of the other challenges they've done?
So there's like um I think around the first parts. It was mostly just getting to know most of these girls. So it's like they're showing off their random talents, like drawing or like dancing or whatever.
Hmm.
But most of the things they do is singing, dancing, just showcasing them individually, and that's during weekdays. And on Saturdays, they showcase what how they do stuff as a group.
Okay. So, if people want to watch this, what time is it?
Okay, so the daily show is they show it here around 6 p.m. So I'm not sure how people from other countries are gonna. So they're just gonna have to figure that out. But if you
Okay.
follow the MNL48 Twitters, they actually tweet out if they're live and all that. So I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
So you would say the MNL48 Twitter is a really good source for information?
Yeah, so you should really follow that if you want to get into ML48 more.
So, so what about if people want to find like the members' Twitters or Instagrams or showrooms? How can you do that?
All right, so if you actually want to see their showrooms, I think there's a search function in showroom, and you
Yeah.
can just type in MNL48, and most of the girls that streams there will have their name listed. And as for Twitter, yeah, the best thing to do that is put in ML48 and then search for the girl's name you want, because obviously there's gonna be a lot of hits, and you're probably just gonna see a bunch of hate comments because of how people are seeing them right now.
So there's a website, right, that shows the ranking of all the girls?
Yeah, so it's I think you can access the site by just putting in ml48.ph, I think.
Through that, you can see all the people, all the girls that are in the competition right now.
Yeah, and they also have individual videos. They have um clips of them talking about themselves, and most of them are in English.
Okay. So besides their weekly show on Facebook and looking them up on Twitter and Showroom and going to their website, are there any other useful resources or ways that you can follow MNL48?
Well, some of the girls also have their own Instagram accounts.
Okay.
They use it for campaigning mostly, but it's one way to actually know how these girls are how these girls are behind the camera. Most of them are just really silly, you know. And of course, they're gonna act like really proper in front of a camera, but
Hmm.
most of the behind the scenes stuff is where the actual girls shine.
And you have a YouTube channel, right? Where you have done podcasts with a bunch of the girls and posted videos about MNL48 and things like that.
Mm. Yeah, I do. So it's mostly in Filipino, but I mean the podcast episodes are mostly in Filipino.
Hmm.
But if you're really interested, you can. There's some points where we talk in English. So I think that's where some of the international fans found my channel. Most of them actually messaged me how to reach these girls and all that,
Hmm.
how to vote. And of course, I had to explain to them that they can't vote, but it's really good that for somehow I got people interested in them. I have another. I think I put in a playlist, so it's actual videos of the girls doing their campaigning, and you can just see them in their natural environment or whatever. There was one. So most of these podcasts were done live actually. So I kind of just put these girls on the spot on the spot. So I actually do the show on showroom, and I'm also recording at the same time.
Oh wow.
and most of our audience are Filipino idol fans.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just do a live interview. Most of it is really awkward actually. So, but somehow it worked. And there's this one case. I talked to Ashley beforehand because I was informed that some international fans would be watching.
Uh-huh.
So I told her, so okay, there's this one point where I'm suddenly gonna speak in English, so you have to speak in English, okay? So we had to mentally prepare ourselves to suddenly just shift from Filipino to English. It was funny.
So how long do you think you guys spoke in English?
I think we managed to do at least 2 minutes, I guess.
Okay, yeah, so I'll put that down in the description. So you said that you can't vote as an international fan, but is there any other way that you would say that you can support MNL48? Or what would you say is the best way that you can support MNL48?
Okay, so the way this competition is working, I think put it puts the girls in like a really like high mental anguish. So since they're like threatened to be like getting booted off the competition every Saturday. So I guess if you're really concerned about them, you can send them messages on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
sending them messages of support and all that. And it's for me, I think I've told people about this before on people I know on Twitter, and it's really nice that they actually doing it. And I see some girls uh, getting really happy that they're getting messages from people overseas. So it's one of those you can do that so that you can support them. Eventually, you can buy their goods. So
Any last thoughts about MNL48 or anything else to wrap things up?
okay, so right now there's actually people are still really doubtful about how ML48 is gonna work in the Philippines, but I think one way to make people get into them is us being fans who actually know how idols work.
Yeah.
If we support them, if we let people know that these girls will be something big in the future, more people are gonna be accepting of them. And it's weird asking this to international fans because it's just really crazy how people are seeing them right now here in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
So and like there's just a really weird Filipino mentality that when a foreigner likes something from here, they're really gonna like that one thing also. I'm not sure why people work that way here. Since it's mostly just gonna be over, it's gonna be over soon. So I really recommend people to get to know more of these girls before they debut. And like if you talk to them on Twitter, you can, I don't know, ask them questions, and eventually when they get famous, you can tell yourself, oh, I talked to her before. You can have that like printed on a plaque or something.
Take Twitter screenshots.
Yeah. So when after the group debuts, they actually have a contract with Tokyo Girls Collection.
Oh,
Like right
really?
away, they have a contract about like a modeling contract, I guess, and they opened a store just right near the MNL48 theater. So I guess that's gonna double. Like so, they mentioned about daily fashion shows in that um TGC shop.
Oh, daily fashion shows?
Yeah, and I think they're gonna be streaming that on Showroom as well because I think they
Huh.
had a deal with Showroom too. And I guess along with the daily performances in the theater, they also have that thing with TGC. So yeah, if MNL actually kicks off, people are really gonna notice how much of a big deal they are.
Hmm.
Most people just think they are um K-pop rip-offs, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically it. So I hope people realize that that's not the case. AKB48 is like an idol empire at Japan
Hmm.
who has like I don't know a million sister groups.
I don't even know how many they have now. A lot.
The same, and it's actually a miracle that they even actually want one here in the Philippines. Oh yeah,
So, thanks for being on my show,
of course. Thank you for having me.
and thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye guys.